All right, so how did this image go from this to this? Mostly the content aware tool. So let's jump in and let's add and take away some goats. So let's find the content aware tool. Most of the time you'll find it right in here, which is where the spot healing brush is. So um, I could use the content aware tool to make my selection, or I could actually just use a regular selection tool like the lasso tool. It doesn't really matter. And with this first example, um, it won't matter at all what selection tool I use because, uh, well, you'll see. Let me show you. If I just press backspace, content aware pops up, and I'll press OK, and I'll automatically get rid of this goat. So if you have a picture of somebody, who's in a photo and you no longer want them in that photo, that's how you get rid of them. But here's the catch. In order for this to work that way, it needs to be a background layer. So if this layer is a background layer, then it'll work. But let's say if it's not a background layer, let's undo what we just did and let's take away this background layer status. All I had to do was unlock it, and it's no longer a background layer. So if I did the same thing, made the same selection, as a matter of fact, let me show you this. If I go to select, reselect, it'll pull up my last selection so I don't have to go over it again. But now I have this selected and I press backspace again, and this happens. Why? Because this is no longer a background layer. So it won't give me the option for content aware. So let me undo that. And there's two ways that I can get around this. One, I can flatten this layer in order to make it a background layer again. And to do that, I just right click, go to flatten image, and voila, it's a background layer. But let's say I don't want to do that. What I could do is, instead of using content aware, I could use my patch tool. And what I'll do is slide this over to an area that is similar to the background that is here. So I want to make it kind of like look the same as this area. So that's what the patch tool is doing. It's patching, it's blending this and this and getting rid of the main object. So if I were doing this, I wouldn't want to come over here because then I'll get something like that, and that's not cool. So yeah, you can use the patch tool. But let's go back to the original image. And now I'm going to show you how to, let's say, move these goats from here to over here. So let's say I just grab any selection tool, grab my lasso. I have these goats and I want to move them from here to here. What I would use is my content aware tool. And right here, the mode says extend. I want to change that to move. So now I'll move them from over there to right over here. And I'll press enter, and Photoshop will calculate, and it will basically not only move those goats, but make this background look like they were never even there. So let's press Command D to deselect. As a matter of fact, now this time I'm going to select not just those goats. Matter of fact, I'm going to select all of this whole group right here. And I'm going to not move them, but I'm going to extend them this time, which is going to add even more goats. But this time, to make it less obvious, I'm just going to shrink this down and send them a little bit further back and press enter. And Command D to deselect. And so far it looks pretty good. Now, if I have areas that look like they need to be fixed, like this area right here, uh, I would just go in and use a selection tool. If I wanted this grass to look more like the grass in this area, and I'll use that patch tool again. And I can just grab this and kind of bring it over here, and then I'll get something that looks like that, which is not too bad. Yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting per se, but it does look a little bit more believable than what I had before. Um, and I also want to show you that with this tool, I could actually grab this and get my content aware tool, make sure it is on move, and then what I could do is not only just move this guy, but once this happens, I could actually flip him and have him facing the other way. And I could probably even make him larger and, yeah, make him seem a little bit closer than the rest of them. Maybe even rotate it just slightly. Press enter. Photoshop will calculate, and then there you have it. There's not much more that I could add to that, other than I can show you maybe a different way to use it. Let's say with these geese. It's not really a different way. Let's say I like him in the front. I can just grab this and move him to the front, press enter, and you would think that this image would be a lot easier to adjust because it's a blue background, but if you look carefully right here, you can kind of see that this shade of blue where he was darker than over here. So to fix that, I would again use my my patch tool. I'll just get close through here, and because this is the area where it looks the worst, so I'll come in here, grab my patch tool, and let my patch tool kind of blend that area a little bit better, so now it's less noticeable. And even over here, I'll do the same thing and move that, and there we go. But yeah, that is the content aware tool, and you are now officially a Photoshop beginner. All you have to do is practice. Practice makes perfect. You have been amazing, and I can't wait to see you again in the next one. Have a great time.